Welcome to our top posts, where I want to murder OP's wife. Our next Reddit post is from our relationship advice. I'm a 38-year-old man and my 36-year-old wife ruined my station and I'm trying not to lose it. I work a very demanding job. There are very few, if any, times during the year when I have the luxury to take a few days off to myself. When I come home from work, between cooking, dinner, doing dishes, and taking care of chores around the house, I get maybe 2 hours a day to relax. My wife gets upset if I don't spend all that time with her. So, I don't get to watch my shows, play my video games, or read my books. I've told her many times that I need time to relax and do things that I enjoy, and she agrees with me. But then she'll start giving me things to do or try to get me to do something else with her within 30 seconds of me starting. So, 2 months ago, I asked my boss if I could use a week of vacation between Christmas and New Year's. It's a slow week, and we made arrangements to ensure that I'm covered during those days for emergencies. I told my wife that this will be my me time to do all the things that I want, to distress from life, and to catch up on the things that I really enjoy. I also plan to clean up my office and organize my files, which is something that has stressed me out for a while. My wife agreed and told me that she was very happy that I'm going to be able to do some stuff. This weekend, she told me that she had scheduled chimney cleaners for Wednesday because I'd be home. She wrote down a list of things for me to do. Go to Home Depot, clean up yard debris, pick up groceries for the week, go through boxers in the basement, and organize everything. I politely informed her that I wouldn't be doing any of those things, that this week was about self-care and addressing my needs, and with only 4 real days, minus Christmas, I was not going to add additional tasks. She told me to just do what I had time for. On Tuesday, my wife decided to work from home. This prevented me from organizing my office since we share an office. I put on one of my video games and started to play. 10 seconds later, my wife came flying in and told me to turn it off because it was too loud while she was trying to make phone calls. I told her to shut the office door, but she told me it was entirely too loud and sounded unprofessional in the background. So, I pulled out a book and started reading on the couch. I did that for about an hour when my wife decided to come out into the living room and work on her laptop. She turned on the Kardashians. I sarcastically asked if that wouldn't make her sound unprofessional in the background. She replied, "I'll just mute if a call comes in," which is exactly what she did. So, after 15 minutes of trash TV and loud business phone calls, I went into our bedroom to read my book. At this point, my wife kept interrupting me every few minutes. "How's the book? How much more do you have to go? What's it about? Do you want lunch? What do you want for dinner? Are you still on the same book? Do you want to watch something on TV? Am I ruining your day? Do you not want to spend time with me? Do you know where the black water bottle went?" Eventually, it was time for dinner, so I just gave up and put my book down. Today, she decided to work from home again. I told her it wasn't necessary. She told me that she wanted to work from home. I replied, "Yes, but no offense. I don't want you here." She laughed and said, "I know it's your self-care week, but I don't feel like going in. We can both be here." So, I couldn't be in the office. I had to be up early for chimney cleaners, and I couldn't be in the living room because they were working in there. I went into our bedroom and started reading my book. She came in and informed me that I needed to stay with the chimney sweepers in case they had questions. Because she had work calls she had to take, I was unable to concentrate with them working, so I just sat there. When they finally finished, I took my book out and started reading. That's when my wife decided to come out into the living room and turn on the Kardashians again. I migrated into the bedroom, laid down on the bed, and continued reading my book. Oh my God, this woman! 10 minutes later, she came in with her laptop and laid down on the bed next to me. I did my best to ignore the typing and phone calls and just concentrate on my book. Then she started snoring, not heavy breathing, but literal congested, wheezing, choking, snoring. I sighed, got up, headed into the living room, laid down on the couch, and put on one of my shows. That lasted 15 minutes before my wife came in and started talking through it. She kept asking questions about it, criticizing it, talking about how it's clear why she wouldn't watch it, asking how many episodes there are, how long each episode is, and so on. Finally, after needing to rewind the same part 8 times, I accepted defeat and turned it off. My wife informed me that she thinks she's going to work from home for the rest of the week. She saw the look on my face, smiled, and said, "I know I'm cramping your style and ruining your week off, but it's a quiet week, and it works for me to be home." I told her, "I love spending time with you, but I need my alone time. I haven't been able to do anything for me, and it's damaging to my mental health." She insists that she understands, and she wants me to have time for myself, but it seems to be in theory only, not in practice. I found myself snapping at her and being tour with her, and I don't want that. I'm afraid that I'm going to explode on her. I don't know how to make myself any clearer, but she doesn't seem to be taking me seriously. OP. I could feel my heart rate elevating while reading this post. I was getting stressed out just listening to it, so I couldn't even imagine living with that level of frustration on a daily life. I'd be out of that relationship. I think the only thing you can do to salvage this relationship potentially is to have some sort of, like, no girls allowed man cave, like a basement that she's not allowed to enter, or like a small built shack out in your yard that you can retreat to and just get away from her. Cause God, she sounds exhausting. Am I the butthole for telling my husband I'll divorce him if he doesn't stop ignoring our daughter? I'm a 46-year-old woman, and my husband is 49, and we have a daughter who's leaving for college soon. But my husband's been ignoring her since her senior awards ceremony back in mid. My husband is someone who loves making noises for no reason. He hums, whistles, taps his fingers or pen, snaps, claps, literally anything to make noise. He does this constantly. Our daughter has misophonia and hates any kind of repetitive noises. This isn't just a mild annoyance. She is in therapy, and has even been medicated in the past to try and cope with this. Her main trigger is especially pin clicking. My daughter is always either in her room or wearing headphones because my husband can't refrain himself from making noises that trigger her when she's around. The issue is back in April. My daughter had an award ceremony because she was in the top 10% of her graduating class. During the ceremony, my husband brought along a pin and kept making noise with it during the whole ceremony. He was clicking it, snapping the metal clip over and over and drumming it on the edge of his seat. I told him several times to stop, but he just told me it wasn't a big deal. It was a big deal because the ceremony was held in a small gym with a loud echo, so the sound was very loud. Everyone could hear it, and he did it the whole time. During the speeches, when the awards were being handed out, the pledge and the alma mater speech, my daughter was sat next to us before she got called up, and she kept asking her dad to stop, but he told her to be quiet. When she was called up and he kept doing it, she kept glaring at us from on the platform and mouthing at us to stop. My husband only stopped after the ceremony and the students were released back to their seats. My daughter didn't talk to her dad for the rest of the night, and in the morning, he called her rude for not talking to him after he took off work to attend the ceremony. She blew up at him and said that he ruined it because she couldn't be happy during the ceremony because of his noise. She said she hates how he can't stop for 5 minutes when it's an important event. Since then, my husband's been ignoring her and refusing to help with college packing and preparing. A few days ago, he said he doesn't think that we should pay for the last bit of her tuition because of her attitude problem towards him, and that she needs to learn that her actions have consequences. I blew up at him and said that I'm going to divorce him if he doesn't grow up and apologize to our daughter. I said that he was the one who was rude for making noises that our daughter can't stand at her awards ceremony, and for ignoring her when she was rightfully mad. I also said that he'd been insane for wanting to make her pay for college because she doesn't have that kind of money. And we've always promised her that we would cover it if she got it down to under $5,000 a year. Her yearly tuition cost is roughly $2,500 a year with all of her scholarships. He's now refusing to talk directly with either of us, but is still making comments about not paying the tuition with his money, and that I'll have to use my salary to cover it. The whole house is tense, and I'm wondering if I was actually the butthole for threatening divorce. We were both raised Catholic, and even though we don't really practice anymore, divorce is still something we always agreed is a last case in major situations and not petty arguments. This comment from Guardian Lady is quite appropriate. Who brings a pen to an event like that? Was he expecting to sign autographs? Yeah, it almost seems like he brought the pen specifically as a way to make noise, because if he made noise with his mouth, like whistling or humming, he'd be kicked out. But making noise with a pin is just kind of at the borderline of acceptable that people would tolerate. So, It's like he planned to be obnoxious during this event. Our next Reddit post is from Angelic Cheeky. This happened 3 nights ago, and I still feel sick to my stomach. I can't sleep. I can't eat. And I can't stop replaying it in my head. I've always been a pretty jumpy person. I survived a home invasion 5 years ago, and ever since, I've had severe startle responses. My therapist and close friends know this, but I don't talk about it much with my extended family. I just try to avoid situations that could trigger me. My sister, who's 33, is married to this 5-year-old guy who thinks of himself as the funny one in the family. He loves pranks, jump scares, and filming reactions for social media. I've told him before that I hate being startled, but he always brushes it off with, "Come on, it's just a joke." I've laughed it off at times just to avoid making things awkward, but inside, my heart always races and I feel this horrible icy rush through my body. 3 nights ago, my sister invited me over for dinner. She told me she'd be running late from work, but her husband would be home. I figured we'd just hang out until she got back. I offered to make dinner so it'd be ready when she arrived. I was in the kitchen chopping vegetables when the light suddenly cut out. Total darkness. Primera feroz. My chest tightened instantly. Then, from somewhere behind me, I heard fast footsteps. Before I could even turn around, something lunged out of the pantry screaming. I reacted before I could think. My hand jerked, the knife slipped, and the next thing I knew, my brother-in-law was on the floor holding his side, screaming in pain. I dropped a knife and scrambled to turn on the light. It was him, my sister's husband. There was blood spreading across his shirt. I remember yelling his name and pressing my hands over the wound while fumbling for my phone to call 911. The paramedics said the cut was deep but missed any major organs. He needed stitches and a night in the hospital for observation. The doctor said that he would recover physically, but my sister's face when she arrived at the ER is burned into my brain. Shock, then anger. She didn't even look at me when she said, "You could have killed him." Half my family says it was an accident and that he was stupid for jumping out at me while I had a knife in my hand. The other half says I overreacted, that I should have known that it was just him, and that's exactly why they don't trust me around sharp things. I can't believe I'm being talked about like I'm some kind of danger when I was literally attacked in my own home years ago. Now my sister won't answer my calls, and her husband from his hospital bed texted me. You ruined the joke. I don't even know how to respond to that. My therapist says it's not my fault, but I feel this crushing guilt, like I've destroyed my relationship with my sister forever. Do I owe him an apology for injuring him even though he caused the situation? Or should I stand my ground and make it clear that his prank could have ended much worse? How do I fix this without compromising my own safety and boundaries? It is wild that Op's sister says, you could have killed him when the intruder could have literally killed Oppie. How is Opa supposed to identify who this prankster at attacker is when the entire house is dark? Yeah, this top comment from Arya. What idiot sneaks up on someone who's actively working in a kitchen of all things? Yeah, you'll either get stabbed or have a pot of hot boiling water thrown in your face. That's just beyond stupid. Oppie, I am 1,000,000% on your side. Our next Reddit post comes from our marriage. My husband threatened divorce if I stay over with my daughter who just had a baby after her fiancé took his own life 2 weeks prior. My 29-year-old daughter was 8 months pregnant when her fiancé, who had mental health issues, passed away after he went out partying with friends. He used a gun, and nobody found him until hours later in his grandmother's yard. When my daughter found out, she was obviously hysterical and in shock. He left her no note, and they had argued about him going to this party while she was so pregnant. By the way, she lives with her father, who has stage 4 cancer, as a caregiver to him. We're on excellent terms and consider each other to be family. My daughter went into labor the following Monday after her fiancé's funeral, and the baby, although small, was healthy enough to go home after 1 week. Now, as her mom, I feel like she needs me, and my husband has threatened to divorce me if I go stay the night there. He said, to ask anyone, and they would see how ridiculous that would be. Can someone tell me if he's being a total dick? Thanks for reading my dilemma. Yeah, it is ridiculous, but not for the reason this guy thinks it is. I assume the reason why the husband doesn't want Oppie to stay over there is because she'd be staying under the same roof as her ex-husband, which normally would be a very reasonable complaint. But under these circumstances, I think Oppie is 100% justified. What an actual not-so ultimatum. Our next Reddit post comes from R, entitled, Reviews. Review 1 star. The restaurant owner refused to serve a group of 4 union workmen based on my tattoos. I never guessed ink would matter at a dive bar, but it is what it is. The food was what you would expect from a dive bar, but to have someone examine my ink in depth and decide that I wasn't worthy of a table is rather judgmental and disturbing to me. Money is money, and business is business. I don't drink, so alcohol or bad behavior had no part of his decision. Same on them. The owner claims his father owned a badass biker bar down the street. I wonder if his father sifted through biker tattoos and threw people out. Avoid this dump, especially if you have any tattoos. Then the owner replies, "Ha, it was the word to describe a certain political group popular in Germany around 1940 during World War II. Starts with the letter NSS tattoo on your shaved head. And this was a year ago. Quit crying. Snowflake. Do you need a safe space? Your Facebook profile has you listed as white devil and skinhead for life. Get this cried. If you don't like being judged for your looks, get the tattoo removed or wear a hat. Genius. There's no place for this N-word. Racist hate, or any of that at my restaurant. So, a person of that political affiliation complaining about prejudice is gold. That's so hypocritical, though. I guess that's kind of the level of intelligence you would expect from someone in that political group, right? That was our top post from Reddit. And if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single